Okay, let's dive into this. We're looking at a true revolution in education today. It's this incredibly exciting fusion of language and content learning that is, quite literally, changing how classrooms operate worldwide. It's called CLIL. And if you're curious about how the human brain adapts to a dual-focus environment, well, you are absolutely in the right place. Here's a quick look at our roadmap for this explainer. We'll start with what is CLIL, move into the knowledge age, break down the teacher's competencies grid, look at setting CLIL in motion, and finally tackle the assessment challenge. Don't worry, we're going to break down all this complex academic framework into totally logical, easy-to-follow steps. Section 1. What is CLIL? The innovative fusion. So imagine you walk into a biology class, right? But the teacher is speaking entirely in a foreign language. Can you actually learn complex cellular structures and a brand new language at the exact same time? For the longest time, traditional education told us no way. But what if true dual-focus learning is actually possible without sacrificing one subject for the other? Well, the answer lies in CILL, Content and Language Integrated Learning. According to Cambridge University Press, it's a dual-focused educational approach where an additional language is used for learning and teaching both the content and the language. Now, the absolute magic words here are with and through. You aren't just learning a language so you can eventually talk about science. You are learning science with and through the medium of that new language. They're completely interwoven strands. To really grasp this paradigm shift, just think about traditional education. It relies heavily on siloed subjects, right? You go to math class, pack up your bag, and go to Spanish class. It's totally fragmented. CLIL, on the other hand, is an innovative fusion. It's neither just language learning nor just subject learning, but this incredibly powerful amalgam of both. It's content-driven, so the need to understand the actual subject matter naturally fuels your desire to grasp the language. It's brilliant. And look, this methodology isn't just some trendy educational buzzword. It's supported by a massive academic backbone from institutions like Eurides and Cambridge University Press. The theoretical rigor behind this approach is pretty vast, actually. It requires a carefully planned pedagogic integration of contextualized content, cognition, communication, and culture. Section 2, the knowledge age, and why CLIL matters right now. And this brilliantly illustrates that education in a secondary language is actually as old as education itself. I mean, 2,000 years ago, families in the Roman Empire educated their kids in Greek just to give them a social and professional edge. Fast forward to the 1950s, and the cognitive revolution sparked all these new insights into how our brains process information. By 1994, the term CILL was officially adopted in Europe to capture and design best practices for the method. And today, in the 21st century, we're being driven by sweeping global changes. You see, the old industrial age was all about fragmentation, borders, and territories. But we've moved into the knowledge age now. This new era demands movement, unlimited resources, and integration. Ideas and creativity are literally the new capital, and this massive societal shift has basically forced schools to adapt. There suddenly became this pressing need for convergence and participative learning in classrooms, allowing students to learn in a much more holistic, interconnected way, rather than sitting in rigid, isolated boxes. Section 3. The Teacher's Competencies Grid, the Unsung Heroes. Now, what's really interesting about this is the sheer scale of the pedagogical framework required to pull this off. Developed by leading academics, the CLIL Teacher's Competencies Grid is massive, and it's divided into two major chunks. On one side, we have underpinning CILL. That's the foundational policy, connecting with parents, shaping the whole school ethos, and of course, mastering the target language. On the other side is setting CILL in motion, which covers active classroom implementation, lesson planning, and managing the students' cognitive load. Honestly, it is a monumental juggling act. To actually succeed at this, a CLIL teacher has to master two completely different types of language proficiency. First, you have BICS, or Basic Interpersonal Communication Skills. Think of this as the everyday language of classroom management, giving basic instructions, using contemporary social registers, and let's be real, getting a room full of noisy kids to actually settle down. Then, on the other side, you've got CALP, Cognitive Academic Language Proficiency. This is the heavy lifting. We're talking reading theoretical texts, using highly specific subject terminology, and actively conceptualizing complex ideas in that target language. A great teacher has to just effortlessly switch between both. Section 4. Setting CLIL in motion.
bringing it to the classroom. In practice, these teachers act way more as facilitators than traditional lecturers. They're merging content and language seamlessly. They have to scaffold higher-order thinking, meaning they move students far beyond simple rote memorization and push them into active analysis and creation, all in a second language. They have to foster learner autonomy, and they expertly navigate code switching. They know exactly when to allow a quick native language lifeline without completely breaking the immersion. And woven through all of this is the promotion of profound intercultural awareness. It really all comes right back to those interwoven strands we talked about, managing language acquisition and content mastery at the exact same time.
Section 5, the assessment challenge, measuring the fusion. So think about it. If a student is learning biology in Spanish, how do you fairly grade them? It's a huge hurdle. A 2025 research paper from the American Journal of Education and Learning tackles this exact dilemma. And that quote really gets right to the heart of the matter. We have to measure students' achievements without allowing one to overshadow the other. That's the specific risk here. You absolutely cannot penalize a student's biology grade just because they stumbled on a complex Spanish verb conjugation. And conversely, excellent language skills shouldn't be allowed to mask a fundamental misunderstanding of the actual science content. So how do educators actually solve this dual-focus dilemma? Well, the research lays out 3 specific solutions. Step 1, design scaffolded, project-based tasks. Instead of just relying on standard multiple-choice tests, use portfolios and performance assessments that let students show their understanding in a variety of ways. Step 2, create collaborative, dual-focused rubrics. Both the content criteria and the language criteria have to be totally, completely transparent to the student from day one. And step 3, maintain a rigorous balance between formative practices, checking in during the learning process, and summative practices, which evaluate the final outcome. Basically, by separating the strands during grading, we respect the fusion during teaching.
So, the crucial point is this. We're rapidly moving away from fragmented learning and stepping into a world where knowledge is deeply, inherently connected. I want you to think about it for a second. How integrated were your own learning experiences growing up? And based on what we've seen in this explainer today, is the traditional, siloed school curriculum now completely obsolete? It is a truly fascinating question to ponder as we watch education continue to evolve. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you next time.